I'm gonna call this Martin City Council meeting Wednesday, April 8th or 10th to order with a roll call. Greg?
Here.
Gloria?
Yep.
Lindsay?
Yeah.
Tootie?
Here.
Warren?
Here.
And Jay?
Here.
Others present? I know Hermes. And Charlie and Doug and Bo. I don't know the young lady.
Morningstar.
Oh. Yeah. And Charlie? No. Terry. And Bob, and Sarah Harris, and Anthony Call, and Larry, and Stephanie, and Joyce, and Doug, and Bo, and Tim, and Joe.
Jacob.
Jack. Oh, yeah, Jacob.
Jacob.
Sorry. Wrong one. Okay. You guys have a chance to look over the agenda.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve agenda with flexibility.
Motion by Jay to approve the agenda with flexibility. Is there a second? Or
I'll
just-
second.
Second by Warren.
Warren?
Any discussion? All those signify in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion carried. Now, we have a guest here tonight that means we have flexibility. Charlie, do you want to?
I didn't know if we wanted to go, I guess, in executive session for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel on this.
On what type of thing?
It's on law related.
Is it proposed litigation or contract dispute? Maybe not.
Involves a violation of civil rights
Can it be under
and
personnel?
constitutional rights that the Martin Police Department is doing to our people.
Yeah. If it's regarding personnel, you can go into executive session. If it's proposed to threaten litigation, or if it's a contract dispute. Does it qualify as any of those?
Police department did.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential litigation, I suppose. I mean, I guess I don't.
If there's proposed litigation or threatened litigation, you can.
That's what I would propose that we go into executive session for, under 1-25-2.3.
I believe that's correct. And if it looks like it's not threatened litigation, then we should come up.
Fair enough.
We need a motion.
Motion by Jay
Jay?
to go into executive session with who present?
City council, our city attorney, Gene, and then Hermes, Charlie, anybody else, and
Terry.
Derek.
And it is 1-25-2, sub 3.
Is there a second to that motion?
Is this a law issue, you said? Should the chief of police be in here?
I
And
think so.
and the chief, and Doug, sure, yes.
I'll second it.
How about the sheriff?
This is city.
Well,
Just the city, okay.
you can invite people in and out of executive session. But if there comes a time when you're asking for my legal advice about threatened litigation, then everybody should get kicked out.
Okay.
So just the city for now, let's say, yeah, I mean, yeah. The chief of police.
You know the content better than I do.
Okay, so all those in favor of going to executive session?
We need a second, yeah.
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't hear that.
All those approved?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. So the rest of you will step into the hallway, please. We'll be in executive session for a while.
5:31.
Let's have it in the gymnasium. Put them up in the bleachers.
Now we're
Okay.
so no action taken here.
Huh?
You just have to tell them that no action was taken.
Right. We're, can I have your attention? We're out of executive session. We have no action taken, and being we've been discussing law, we're gonna jump right into law. So Doug, you have the floor.
All right. For the month of March, we had 141 calls for service, 156 traffic stops. Less than half of those got citations. We had 16 arrests, 1 for a felony warrant, 2 for misdemeanor warrants, 2 of those being juveniles, and 5 city ordinance tickets for rain.
Council, do you have any questions for the chief? If none, we're gonna go back to the way the agenda reads, and we're gonna do the minutes of the last meeting. And get some of the other
Then we'll
people.
jump back to law. I mean, we have
Oh.
this in front of us.
Oh, well,
I don't know if you want to stay on that just to
Yeah.
take on.
sure, Jay. I guess we'll go back to law.
The law enforcement service contract.
From the county commissioners.
Okay, so,
Do you want me to read it?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know. I mean, do you mind to give, Sarah, can I give copies of these to the public? You don't mind?
I guess it's just, it's a starting point.
It's a starting point? All right.
It's not a final contract,
Oh, okay.
unless you guys want to sign it tonight, I guess.
I guess just read through it. If you have any questions, I see
And I
you have
can tell you which parts differ from the one that I did,
Yep.
and which are pretty much copy and paste.
Did we get a copy of yours? Did we get a copy of yours?
You did back in the day, but I did compare the two, so I can tell you the differences.
So the copy was it the one that was in effect? That-
No, the one that, just the draft that I did for discussion purposes, that
Oh,
was
okay.
never finalized.
Was it a memorandum?
I did a memo with it,
Or a
but I
memo,
did
sorry.
do something that looks like this.
Okay.
You may have only done the raw word.
It's been a long time ago.
I wasn't here.
Which are?
Yeah.
So what were your additions or corrections, Sarah?
Do you want me to, okay. So Sarah Harris's looks a lot like mine. The one thing I would note is she's got a dollar amount, which of course we'd left that blank because you guys were gonna talk that over and look into it. So just note on the first page, kind of in the middle, sub A, requires 2 payments a year, so the total is $305,993.50. So just about $306,000 for annual payments to the county. So that's notable. Second page, F at the top, this would require the city to have basically a city pound and to have employees to work the city pound, or in some other way, the city is required to provide the care and maintenance of detained animals. So just keep that in mind, that's different from what I proposed, and that's certainly something to consider. There's one of the 5 or 6 things that we said was non-negotiable not in here, and I don't know if that was meant to be taken out or not, but the other thing that we had agreed should be in there is that the sheriff will enforce city ordinances to the satisfaction of the city council. That's one thing not in here that was in our original draft. I can't remember if we had 90 days notice in writing or something less, but then I recall we did want property to be returned within 7 days, at least that was our first step. This last part, I'm okay with. We had talked about putting in the contract itself, the city's inventory, the property that it owns, very distinctly, serial numbers, everything you can find, plus its condition. So should you get it back, it's, ruined or less in value or whatever, you can prove that. This just says that that would be negotiated separately from this contract, I'm okay with that. There's some general provisions I would add to the end that aren't of substance that we need to talk about. Those are the main differences.
I had one question when I read through this. The last line, including old evidence for which no owner can be located shall be retained by the city of Martin. Why would we want that stuff if the sheriff is gonna be law enforcement? If some owner does show up, Why didn't they go to the sheriff to get it?
I assume that means evidence that you don't need to use anymore, it's just left over from.
I mean,
closed
the
files.
drugs probably gotta be disposed of.
Yeah.
If it's a gun or something like that. Doug, you got,
I guess we have boxes and filing cabinets full of old case files, that I'm sure need to be retained. I don't know what they wanna do with those as well. It's just kind of my,
didn't the sheriff's office go through and shred and get rid of case files that were 60 years old,
I wouldn't say it's 60, but
20 years old?
How long do you have to keep them?
Usually if we get permission from the state's attorney, it gets destroyed.
That's what I thought.
Burned.
So why would we want to keep anything as a city? That was my only question.
Who would determine that we could get rid of it, basically?
State's attorney.
State's attorney. So, let's ask her what we can get rid of.
I went through with both departments a few different times on things that we can get rid of, so
Once
I
they,
don't know actually what there is right now.
but if the people have been adjudicated,
There's some stuff you can get rid of and some stuff you can't. If it's
right,
Forever?
So,
For quite a while.
if I'm looking at these numbers right, our current budget is 378,000 roughly. They're asking for 306 roughly, so that's around 71,000
savings to us.
savings to the city.
Any further questions?
So this is just our copy to look through
Yep.
since we just got it this morning.
Memorize.
Memorize, change,
Anything else on law?
slide on.
Okay. Minutes of the last meeting. We gotta get going here, guys. We'll be here till midnight.
No, we won't.
I have one correction
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
on the 13th?
on the bills, yeah.
Oh. And we need to make a correction on the minutes for the claims
Yeah.
for March 2024. The claims were reviewed by the council. The honor moved to bill the responsible parties for the cost of replacing the highway street lights that were damaged in 2 separate accidents. Greg Clausen seconded the motion. All voting A, motion carried. Yonner moved to pay the March claims, seconded by Moffett. All voting A, motion carried. And that's the correction.
That's the correction.
That's the correction. So I need a motion to approve this correction to the March minutes. Motion by Greg. Is there a second? Second by Jay.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now, back to the minutes.
Oh, the second meeting.
Huh?
We got one more set.
know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
The March 18th Board of Equalization minutes. Any discussion?
Any corrections on that? I'll make the motion to approve them.
Motion by Gloria to approve the March 18th Board of Equalization minutes is printed. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tootie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Those minutes will be accepted. Okay. Finance Officer's report. I did meet with the auditors yesterday.
I was there too for a little bit.
Good.
Accidentally.
They'll be back in the May meeting to give us our audit.
Jim will, won't he? No.
This is a whole new bunch of people.
I had something, but can't find it.
make a motion to approve the finance officer report.
Motion by Greg to approve the finance officer's report. Is there discussion or a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Warren. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We'll accept the finance officer's report. Claims for April. And there's a bunch.
The normal,
Huh?
the usual.
I hope I got enough ink.
That's Joyce,
Oh,
the party.
okay. Finding anything, council?
No.
I'll motion to approve.
Pardon me?
A motion to approve the claims for April.
Motion by Warren
I'll
to
second it.
approve the claims for April, second by Greg. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay. Lagoon payment of $1,163.
Motion to make the lagoon payment of $1,163 and the water tower loan payment of $10,866.09 and the water project loan payment of $4,502.16.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We'll
And
make,
then I would, if we could before public, it don't matter, or after, but if we could go into the Marcota lease
okay,
next, if we could.
Marcota lease.
I didn't make a copy for everybody, but
Okay. I would,
I could make,
make a motion that can we go in executive session over contract?
Yes.
Okay. So I would say I would make a motion that we go into executive session under SDCL 1-252-3 for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel. And
Contract negotiation.
contract negotiations.
Is
I'll
there-
second.
Second by Gloria. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Would you understand?
Those opposed,
City council, Jean, Stephanie Trask, and
Samantha
Samantha.
and Butch?
Yep,
Okay.
Moral support.
that's it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We'll be in executive session at 6:25.
I approach you guys today to get permission to use Main Street June 22nd, 2024 for Martin Summerfest.
When is
Third
it?
annual. June 22nd?
Oh. Is it gonna be nice?
Hope so. Hope so. It wasn't very nice last year.
No.
We still had a good crowd, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just gotta bring a raincoat.
I think it was a great thing, great turnout last year, and things are kind of moving forward. It's good for the community, brings people to town. All that's good. My only concern was that we had the burnout contest, and we had a lot of people in the front of the burnout.
Yes.
I just think that's a liability for the city.
It
I think
really is.
everyone needs to be behind the cars
And-
if we do that again.
Yeah.
I mean, you're announcing it down there and then people are walking in late
Yeah.
and they don't hear it.
But you know that's a thing, and that's, as long as knowing the people are gonna be behind the cars, I would be for it.
Yeah. It's gonna be addressed this year. It's been talked about quite a bit, so.
Okay.
Can the city have barriers and stuff like that?
Yeah,
that maybe we could.
Not that a car is, I mean.
No,
you
no, I
mean for
mean
the
like
people?
hold the people.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Like-
Paul said that he's gonna get me some different barriers, so
That
I was talking with him about it already.
Are you gonna do it the same spot or just where's that gonna be?
Same spot.
Okay.
Yep,
beer garden,
same beer garden, yeah.
Do you think
The
we
fire
should,
department will do the beer garden.
They locked that.
did they closed off
Yeah.
the end of First Avenue?
Yep,
Okay. I was inside last year, so.
so, yeah, I just approached you guys today to get permission to use, Main Street on that day. And,
do you want a motion on that?
If anybody has any more questions, because I know
What day is it again?
June 22nd.
Is that somebody's phone?
Okay.
I didn't record it.
Do,
And if anybody has any more questions for me, I know I got, some of my vendors are questioning me about coming in this year because of what's been going on, and I'm just approaching you guys to find out if that's gonna be a problem or
Well,
a
what's-
concern for them coming in this year.
What's been going on, like?
food vendors.
Food vendors.
Okay.
They just need to get a permit. and
I mean,
some-
no, well, you guys waived the permits the last couple of years, so,
Did it?
just for that day, cause you said it was a
Special event.
special event or something, I don't remember what it was, but we'll have to look back. I didn't bring my,
So like if they're just coming in for that event that day, why would they buy an annual permit or
Yeah.
whatever is what you're saying?
so, yeah, you guys just waived that.
Do we have a day
waived that,
permit? We
so-
don't. It's just
Yeah,
annual?
$25 a day.
Yeah, you guys just waived that for me the last 2 years, so, for them coming in. Our food vendors, I mean, they had lines the last 2 years for
About a sales
5
tax
hours
license.
straight. Huh?
Yeah, South Dakota sales tax license.
Yeah, yep,
Just have to make sure that they have that South Dakota sales tax
yeah,
license.
they're all state certified, so
I don't think Arma's did last year.
they didn't.
No.
I didn't ask them last year, but they said that they were, I think it was Nebraska, is where
I
they were
guess
certified, so.
if they get that $25 permit, then they kinda go through the city makes sure that they have that stuff.
But they'd have to come during the week, because we're not open on the
Yeah,
weekend.
during business hours.
So, I didn't know how we'd approach that, because like I said, last 2 years you waived it, so.
We could waive the fee, not the process. Or is that not the good, I mean, I don't know.
Well, the process would be part of the fee, wouldn't it?
The process
You'd have
of
to
them
pay
coming
the
in,
fee
making
to
sure
do
they have the sales
The
tax license.
certification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
The South Dakota sales tax.
Well, see, this is where I'm gonna go with this, is because we had youth selling popcorn, we had youth selling snow cones. I mean, how fair is it for them to
Yeah.
to push all this on my vendors when some of my vendors are kids, or some of them are just,
Well, they don't have a food truck though, right?
well.
They're not operating a food truck, are they?
Well, one of them was operating out of a backwood pickup. So,
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
it's-
that's not
and it
really a
was just
food truck.
kid. One of them was a kid that was, 13 years old. So, I mean, it's really, this is a situation that, I'm gonna put you guys in, because I don't think it's fair to the child that was doing that, and then to say that they have to be certified through the state to serve snow cones to raise money.
I think the state has like laws on kids doing lemonade stands where like that's totally fine.
So, I mean, that's just where I was going. I mean, it's just a day of fun. I didn't know if you guys wanted to push the whole issue of me bringing vendors in, because I don't want to chase them away. I'd like to see
You don't want
more.
to have them chased away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to start pushing people away. I mean, so.
You want as many people in town.
Yeah, I want as many people to come as possible. We have, a lot of our support comes from the local restaurants in this town, and they don't mind it. I mean, they still support Summerfest, or else they wouldn't, do their donations every year if they didn't approve the vendors coming in, so. I mean, I just, totally up to you guys. I didn't know how you wanted to go about it.
Make a motion to waive the single day fee
Can we
for
do that, sir?
Summerfest.
I would make a motion that we, allow Main Street to be used June 22nd for Summerfest.
Yeah, one thing at a time here.
So that's what I would make a motion for.
Motion by Jay, June 22nd, the 4th, Saturday of June for Summerfest on Main Street. All those, or second? Second by Warren. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And I don't know that we need a motion, but I would like to have time to think about that vendor thing and kind
We'll
of.
table it.
If we could table it.
So, yeah, if you could table it for me, and then, because I want to come back, I'll have my list of what we need sponsored for next month. I just wanted to come approach you guys and make sure that I get approval to use Main Street before I do the rest, start the rest of my planning, so.
Is there anything that we can help with?
Well, I'll approach that at the next meeting. What's it?
Oh, believe me, there will.
So, the food truck and vending licenses like that, what committee does that fall under? Don't know.
Me.
You're the level. Okay, I was just wondering if we had a committee for.
No,
But
I
see,
can appoint a committee.
This is where I was coming in with that. I mean, I could take the responsibility and make sure that these vendors have their certification and
Sounds good to me.
approve it, approach it to you
I
guys.
think
So,
most of them around do. I think the Gordon one,
yeah, they had it in Nebraska, but they just weren't South Dakota, so
I
I
think
think
they
they
got it.
are now in
Yeah.
South Dakota.
Yeah.
And a lot of our other vendors, we're gonna have some coming out of Rapid and
they're,
we
They're
have
all
one guy coming out of Valentine that he is South Dakota state certified, so, as well as Nebraska.
You can go to the South Dakota Department of Revenue and look up business names.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Yep,
I mean, to ask them what their business name is, and it's simple.
Alright, Summerfest 2024.
thank you guys. Can you put me in next month's
Agenda?
agenda, please?
Sure.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, see you, Doug.
See ya.
Next on the agenda, Bo Greg, you're on the agenda.
I was coming here, under a citation. I really don't have, I don't really want to contest the citation as much as I just kind of heard through the grapevine that a decision made by Chief Lucero regarding an incident in front of my house last week was possibly going to be attempted to be overturned as far as a dog bite occurred. My dog was deemed to be not vicious by reason of video evidence. I just kind of heard that maybe that was going to be, looked at to be overturned.
I don't think we can overturn a citation.
Well, it was, the decision that the dog was deemed not vicious, is what I had heard was going to be, discussed tonight, during kind of a public comment thing. I was just wanting to be here to defend the decision that was made by reason of video evidence. And as long as there's nothing going on further with that, I don't want this to carry on any further. The incident has been resolved. I would just like to move forward and carry on.
Council?
Do you have anything on that, Lucero?
No.
Okay.
We got our dogs and cats ordinances here. Is that what this is about?
That's why I put it in there.
Excuse me, I was cited for an animal at large. And, I mean, that's what the citation was for. Like I said, not really here too much to contest it. I was here, and, if the other incident, the other reason of the incident was to be brought up as far as trying to overturn Chief Lucero's decision to deem the dog not vicious, said by reason of video evidence, dog cannot be deemed vicious if being teased, tormented, things of that nature. Video showed that snowballs and things had been thrown. Dog got excited, kind of run up, grabbed the kid by the back of the pants. Like I said, there's been subsequent things that have happened, but as far as it goes with the city, I just want to ensure that this is not going any further. If there was any,
do you have a dog license?
I do now. At the time, I did not, but that's been taken care of at this time.
Well, does your dog have rabies shots and stuff like that? Rabies
So
shots and,
that was the issue, one of the issues is that we had taken him to Ogallala Pet Project in Kyle. Also took our cats. They found documentation on our cats being fixed. They were not able to find the documentation of the dog. Morningstar, says she took the dog, she took the cats, and paid the $5 for strictly the rabies shots, but never received paperwork.
so they are rabies shot, your dog has a rabies shot? Then you took it out here?
Yes, we took it out here. He was taken by the police the night of the incident and, was held there under review for being a vicious dog, deemed not vicious, and he was booster shotted and released to my care.
Okay.
So at this time, he is licensed. I had him checked because of the fact that we were not able to produce paperwork from this last summer. I took him out there yesterday and had him examined by Rocky, showing no signs of rabidness, rabies, anything like that. The protocol of it is he's supposed to be checked day 3, 7, and 10. So day 10, plan to take him, have him examined again. Final examination 15th. He's deemed to not have any rabies, and that's kind of where that goes.
Generally, in that incident, there is a state law, but it should be held for 10 days, just to make sure that there, especially if a rabies vaccination document is not produced, so that it can be under that surveillance. That I had a problem with. The community of Martin has had problems with dogs, and then when a kid gets bitten, that's a bad thing, no excuses. That should not be able, it shouldn't happen, we don't want that to happen in the state community.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. Like I said, there were other things involved, and the video evidence shows, like I said, as far as the incident goes, before any of that happened, the complainant's dog, or the kid, that was got on the butt, his dog had attacked a cat in the street. It was very audible, very loud. He was asked to leave with his dog. Prior to the incident, he didn't leave, and things got excited. There was a snowball fight, like I said, all that, and
NJ 237, section 1C would null and void that, because that animal was used prior to the.
That's on the property of the owner.
It says, or which person was teasing, tormenting, abusing, or assaulting the animal, or is committing or attempting to commit a crime. That doesn't necessarily, that part doesn't say that on the premises. The part of premises was like if there were trespassing.
Common sense would tell me that is in there for the reason that if somebody goes on someone else's property and the dog's there protecting it. But in this incident, the dog ran out of the yard, it was in the street and bit the kid. That dog was non-restrained. And in that dog, I'm not saying it happened, it's a bad thing, we just don't want that to happen. Hopefully we're past it and everybody learns something from it.
As far as moving past it, I was in today. As of a few weeks ago, I have materials for a 6-foot privacy fence to enclose my backyard. We'd already been planning to do this anyways. I had to have my grandpa sign the paperwork, and like I said, I obtained the materials for the fence from the hospital. They surplusing allowed me to get it. I have a stack in my backyard, but I have to complete the paperwork, the locate and everything to be digging holes and stuff into the ground. So, like I said, taking measures to make sure it doesn't happen again. As far as it goes, like I said, dog's never bitten anybody before. He plays with kids. There's never, no reason to believe that, to expect that something like this would happen. So like I said, it's unfortunate that it did in the way it did. But, like I said, we don't plan on ever there being a chance for this to happen again, taking the correct measures to ensure that. So.
Electric fence is really fast.
Yeah, well, we plan on, it's going to be the 6-foot fence, and dogs are crafty, so we plan on lining it with electric fence as well, just for
Oh, they
the,
won't get a 6-foot fence.
You wear it, Gloria. Okay.
Chief, did you declare the dog vicious?
No, I do not.
Okay. Then, if the law enforcement declares the dog vicious, then there's a whole bunch of things that you have to demand of the dog owner, but hasn't been declared vicious.
Okay, thanks, Bo.
okay. Thank
Anything
you guys
else?
for your time.
Next on the agenda, high school.
Me,
Okay,
anyway, May 18th is goodbye to the old school.
what, I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay. May 18th.
Yeah?
is Goodbye to the old school, and it's gonna be sponsored by the Heritage Center. And it will begin at the Heritage Center with registration. And we have a t-shirt with the building on it, as well as a memory book. And that will be on sale that day. And then at 3 o'clock, we're coming up to the front of the building, and the booster is going to be taking a group photo of all the students who ever attended there, as well as all the teachers who ever taught there. And that will be followed by a
They're still
tour
alive.
of the school complex. Mr. Olson is doing that. Michaela will have a tour of the building itself. And then after that, we will have Susan's H&H is going to be catering a lunchroom special meal up there, followed by Stuart Livermont with Country Rush in the old gym. And anyway, I was just wondering if you'd like to contribute anything. We would say, acknowledge it somehow that the city wants to contribute anything, or like beverages or whatever.
Council,
Can you have the beverages in there?
Where?
what kind of beverages you want?
No. I don't. Can they have anything like water?
It's the old building.
It's the old
You're
gym.
gonna tear it down.
They won't let you have beer in there,
So
so.
afterwards, I mean, supposedly.
It's a drug-free zone, so yeah, you won't have beer in there.
We know, we've already been told.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think we should donate some.
Yeah, what do
What do
you
you
have,
want?
do you have a?
I don't know, the
Okay.
thing is.
5,000?
I mean, we're trying to fundraise with the Heritage Center, and yeah, we can spend our fundraising money on the profit, but I don't, whatever, if anybody wants to donate.
And what's the money gonna be used for again?
Okay, could be used for beverages, because Susan will have the meal there, but we'll need something like probably during the dance. And then we were also thinking maybe of doing some retro, after-school snack type things. A big tub of those out, just for something.
Are they serving goulash?
Well, I'm not going if they are.
That was nasty. That's all I can say, no goulash.
So anyway, yeah, people will pay for their meal. We're not gonna pay for everybody's meals.
No.
Yeah, it's, everybody will pay for whatever, so.
Will she have beverages there, like tea or something?
She will with the meal, but that's gonna be at 5.
Okay,
And Stuart's he's trying to invite former students that had little bands in high school to join them. So it should be all right, I think, for one thing. And people are coming. Motel has 19 reservations made already, so.
wow.
So, like bottled water?
Yeah, I mean, I can get whatever. I was even thinking like the retro pop bottles,
Yeah.
like bottled pops or whatever. Whatever.
I agree, I think we should support it,
I mean,
How much, Gloria?
millions.
We don't have,
I don't know, if you always, give me a price.
I mean, we'll accept
Pop's
anything.
expensive.
If you're only gonna give us $100, we'll take it.
Oh.
But whatever you wanna give us.
$1,000?
Well, that's too much, but
$500?
that would be fine. That'd be great.
I make a motion.
I
we
mean,
don't-
the Stewart, obviously, we're gonna take up the cost of the band, because we don't wanna have to charge people to go.
Second.
To the gym.
Isn't his fee 1,000?
Pardon?
Isn't his fee 1,000?
I think so.
Motion by Gloria on the floor to give him $500, second by Jay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign?
Aye.
Oh, did you wanna have discussion?
Oh, just, coming out of B&B funds?
yeah, I think so. We're promoting the city.
Yeah.
Cause it'll bring people to town and stuff, yeah.
There will be people in town, I'm pretty sure, because we already have the event posted, and there's 70 people that said definitely they will be here, and we've got 249 that are interested.
Plus we
And
got
that's
class
even
reunions.
The local people, so.
So did that motion pass?
Nobody voted yet.
Oh, all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's
Those
getting
opposed?
late.
Same sign. Motion carried. Okay, malt beverage renewals.
We need to renew our malt beverages.
Is that, no, that's down there. Operating agreements.
Yeah, the malt beverages run from July 1st to June 30th, so it's, you do this every year for sportsmen's. Yep, sportsmen's, Souls, the Legion, Bros,
Yes way?
Yes Way, Lynn's, H&H,
The tire shop.
Sportsman's Lanes. Did I say sportsman's?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Tire
first.
shop.
Tire shops will be a new one. So,
So make a motion or not? To renew the malt beverage renewals.
Okay, yeah, I make a motion to renew the malt beverage.
I second.
Motion by Jay, second by Warren. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Now
We'll
we gotta do
renew
personnel.
the existing malt beverage licenses.
okay.
Right?
Yep.
Operating agreements, American Legion and the H&H Bar.
We have 5-year operating agreements with them. They come up every 5 years
Why do we have operating agreement?
because they use our license.
Oh,
Anytime they use the license, they have to have an operating agreement with them.
And the standard is do a 5-year.
Mm-hmm,
That's all more you can do with your,
yeah. And it's the same operating agreement that's been approved in
I drafted that sucker 20.
many years ago, so.
Once in a while I check it, make sure it's so, besides I say a lot.
I need a motion.
I motion to approve the agreement.
I'll second.
Motion by Warren, second by Greg. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Airport cameras.
Oh, we need personnel first.
Oh, sorry.
We need to hire Devin Arenado.
Arredondo.
Is that how you spell it?
And it's application for employment for Paul, our city foreman,
What's his name again? Devin?
Devin Marcos Arredondo.
On the city maintenance workers.
Right,
Yes,
$15 an hour.
$15 an hour.
He'll be full-time.
His has references and been to the university.
Paul said he's working really good, doing good, so. Paul did.
He did what?
He's been working and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
doing really good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's,
Oh, he has been working?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah, we just got officially hired.
Oh, okay. I don't know if he's any.
I'm not.
He is Samantha's boyfriend.
Cool.
That's what you want to know?
They do. Do you? Two?
Okay.
No, they don't. They don't need it. They don't want it. It's just that. I motion to approve.
Motion by Warren to hire Arredondo as a maintenance worker, second by who? Jay.
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We'll give him the good news. Now, airport cameras.
You guys have a quote in there?
Yeah, green now.
And Paul said there's one, I think one of, that quote includes a camera inside one of the
Hangers.
hangers, and he doesn't need that one. So it'd probably be a little bit less than that.
So the quote for 6,308.
Yeah,
Minus one camera.
minus the camera.
Minus the system in the shop
in-
prep or something.
Yeah, in the hanger.
Why did you put one in? Why this guy put one in the hangar?
He did something like this for Philip or Wall, and kind of just went off of there,
Oh,
what he had done there.
So is this camera gonna be set up like on a building out there,
Yeah,
Says that there's 4 cameras.
camera system in shop prep.
yeah.
And then the inside office dome U camera, night vision.
Yeah, there's quite a few cameras on there.
Yeah, but you got a lot of area and the way
Yeah.
the gate's been open,
3 cameras.
Greg's had problems out there with, you know, the ambulance in and out.
Would it be cheaper to put
It's
like an
just hard
automatic
opening.
gate?
It's just hard opening them gates in the wintertime.
Yeah, when they're full of snow and ice.
It gets really,
Well, I mean, like, would it be cheaper to put like an automatic gate
Rolls
opening
back and
door
forth.
than all these cameras?
I'd rather have
The
the
problem
cameras.
isn't with the gate, the problem was people going inside there and vandalizing, because Paul said that somebody was trying to break into one of,
I have seen.
Jackson's.
I have seen the car out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Carl Jackson's hangar out there, so.
The
I have seen
FAA,
a car out there, but, you know, those gates are supposed to be closed, but I know like in the wintertime, it's hard to get them open, you know, and let alone close them.
They're swinging now, right?
They're swinging.
So
yeah.
do you think like a sliding gate would be better?
You know, I think they're, I think they're okay.
Okay.
Usually when it gets bad, Paul's out there blading it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually at first, it just, you know, there's sometimes you go out there and he hasn't had a chance to get there yet. But, I mean, like even in the summertime, there has been people, the gate's been open and there has been people out there. You know, now I don't know if they're on the runway or what, but there have been, I have seen people out there.
Could they get past the gate that was automatic though?
yeah,
The gates aren't locked.
But I mean, like, if it was like a gate that you had to have access to get in there, like 3 pilots.
Like
and
type of code in or whatever.
Yeah, like a gate, would that be more effective than $6,000? Is what I'm trying to ask, it's just.
I would think that the camera system would probably be better because then we'd have proof for
This is
law
in the package, that
enforcement.
camera thing.
And the way the FAA's been with this, we're more likely gonna have cameras out there.
I was brought a concern by one of the pilots about the crosswinds on the strip. And, it is
Yeah.
an issue.
Well,
They,
as they said, I mean, there will never be a crosswind runway. It's just cost prohibitive and it would not be used enough. So I know they're not happy. They said that when we built the fence, but it's not something that's ever gonna happen.
in the long-range plans, we're supposed to lengthen 1,000 feet and widen 16 feet. And that's gonna be a terrible amount of money. So,
Plus we have to move that.
yeah,
AWACS.
we gotta move AWACS yet this year, or coming year. So, and we've already spent, what, $900,000? We'll get some of that back, but we won't get her all.
I mean, it does seem like a lot of money for cameras.
How much did our park system cost?
The park was like half that, almost, no, about 4,000.
But there's what, 5 cameras?
Yeah,
So we're looking at 14 cameras.
14?
Camera system installation on site, 14. That's not right.
What do you mean not right?
Says 14 cameras, the rate for installation is $80 per camera. So they're saying that it's 14 cameras.
Well, you could table this until Paul's back,
Yeah,
cause Paul's been visiting with the guy, so he knows more about it than.
yeah. That one's down at the park, one camera has 4 separate lenses on it. So I guess, you know, instead of saying 4 cameras, I just say 1 camera because it has 4 different positions on it. I don't know what kind of these are here,
well, there's a $200 IR camera, infrared. So that's what we got done to senior housing, so. Okay, table it, put it on next month's agenda. Next on the agenda, council pay.
Yeah, millions.
Yeah, I had that put on there. I
Okay.
was just curious, when was the last time that what do we get paid, I guess?
Too much.
I resign.
You get $350 for half, so it's $700 a year plus $85 per meeting.
85 meeting is all? What do you get paid?
Yeah, so we're gonna use your hours up tonight.
And then Gary makes more, he makes $100 per meeting
Yeah.
plus, I don't know, it might be $1,000
And when was
a
the
year.
last time that was changed?
2016.
2016?
But you can bring that up.
3 more years will be 10 years. Up to you guys.
So it's one of the reasons that, yeah, I just think that, and the other part of it was, and this is kind of a thing for Gary, so your council as mayor, you know, should be going to like the trainings, the elected official trainings and getting that kind of stuff. And it can be taxing on a council member to drive all the way to Pierce, spend a whole day there, especially if they're a business.
Well,
owner.
you guys would get reimbursed for travel.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
But nobody ever goes anywhere. I think you were the only one that went.
Cause I didn't know that even. You
Yeah.
know, I just know that when I was there, other people were talking about it and I'm like, well, it's just ain't a thing in Martin, I guess is what it is. But if that's what's keeping people from going there on council.
I don't think so.
But I think that's an important thing.
But
It's an
yeah,
important
I mean,
job.
yeah.
Mayor
We get
expenditures, page 2, 0. I got 100% that I've never used, ever.
Because he doesn't go anywhere.
I don't go anywhere.
I think the last raise the city council got was like 10 years ago.
You made the
2016.
motion.
Which is almost,
2016.
which is almost 8 years
8
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think me and
How much
Tootie
do
were
we
pushing
get
that issue or
a
brought it
meeting?
up. Because it was a long
85.
time before that,
It was a long time.
long time.
Yeah.
But
It's up to you, council.
And I just potentially think that it could be taxing for some council members, you know what I'm saying? And you also deal with a lot outside of the meeting as well.
sure.
You know, when you're a council member, right? So, everybody talks about raises and things like that, and then these positions aren't always the easiest to fill, you know? So, I mean, pay is one thing that I think could help with that, get people more, knowing that they're not gonna have to take a loss in what they do every day to do it. you
Like
know?
a 3% raise, cost of living raise.
There we go.
It's up to you guys.
I mean, that's basically what the city employees get every year is a cost of living increase.
3% for 8 years,
3% or 2.5.
so you'd have to calculate that over 8 years.
Like 24% raise.
You want to go back and retro it?
Well, it would be, yeah, but I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out, you know, what you guys consider. I mean, do you think it's time for something to be done with that, or do you just leave it? But I think it's important that council members are going to these elected official trainings and stuff. And they're not
Penalized.
penalized to do so. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't really have any proposal. Maybe I can bring it up later, but I think it's something that needs to be addressed.
I think it's something you ought to look at, though. Next council that comes on, ought to look at that maybe.
Does the next council come on at the next meeting?
Yep.
Yep, May meeting. Table it till next meeting.
There you go.
So they can know that they can go to it, right? To that, whatever, the council training?
Food truck ordinance.
We just have to read it again? Gary,
What?
didn't we read it last month?
I read it.
You have to do it again?
Well, that was just talking about it. This is, Owen came up, did this, so this is the
This is the ordinance that we got drawn up by Sarah, right?
right,
By my
Right.
deputy on, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's based off,
yeah. It's pretty close to what they had talked about, but, so.
Did you get it?
You want another copy too?
I don't
Anybody
know how
else?
to read. She doesn't read. I'm a math teacher, you don't have to read.
What about word problems?
You use photo math for that.
This is what we kind of discussed before,
Yes.
just in official form.
Tyler ought to be reading this.
I've already read it.
Okay.
I don't know, I think you might hang out with somebody that may have that.
Spent all afternoon reading.
So what do you gotta do?
Make a motion to adopt it as second reading,
No, wait, you have to, this would be the first reading.
first reading. Then we have a second reading and then we,
So you gotta read it to everybody?
if you want me to read it out
No,
loud, I
I
will.
don't, I'm ready to go home.
Are there copies that the public can see it themselves?
Yeah.
Because usually they can just read the title.
I'll second. Is there a motion?
I made it,
Is there a motion?
I made it to adopt this.
Motion by
To
Gloria
approve the first reading.
Oh, yeah.
to adopt the first
No,
reading.
to approve the first reading.
To approve the first reading, Greg seconded it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Do they,
Well, we asked about it and they said that it's.
was that without having any revisions or something like that? Like, you just gotta, you have to not make any revisions
If it's a substantial change, then you'd have to start over
in the
again.
process?
Right, with the
Yeah.
first reading again.
Okay, so that may happen with new council, may not.
Right.
Okay, alright, I just wanted to know the process.
Well, normally what happens at the May meeting is the old council comes, they handle the old business. This would be considered old business. And then when the new council gets sworn in, then you take off on the new business. So,
So we're gonna have to have a bigger place. I'm just being cranky, I'm tired.
Are we done with food truck ordinance? Okay,
We would like 10 to be clarified because
10?
Item 10 says a food truck vending establishment cannot be permanently located on any property and cannot function as a permanent site. That's rather vague.
and it's gonna be subjective.
And it's subjective to whoever's interpreting that.
I thought we changed that.
It's still in there.
It's still in.
Oh, yeah, because as long as you're on wheels, you're not permanent.
Also, 12 is very open-ended. The permit shall require the permittee to obtain insurance in the amount determined by the city. That leaves the city free to just arbitrarily change numbers, pick a number, raise a number, whatever. Without that being a set amount. So, and also, I mean, I understand that being on public property, whether I'm on my property or whether I'm leasing some space from a business owner here in town and I'm on private property. I don't understand why the city would be concerned about them being held liable to where they have to be insured.
Which subsection's that?
It's 10 and 12.
Item number 12.
Yeah.
Do we have to rescind our motion and?
So, you guys don't want 12 or 10?
Well, 10, I just would like clarified. I mean,
Because we did discuss that.
yeah, we did discuss it.
And we did,
well, we discussed that if it's sitting on wheels and you can move it, it's not a permanent thing.
yeah.
If you're gonna take the wheels off and
So put it in there.
and skirt it, it's
wordage.
a
That's what
permanent.
you're asking for.
Yeah.
So that if you, that's the way you think of it now, then that's the way it's interpreted later.
Because the question is, if something's capable of being moved but isn't ever
Is it
moved, is it
moved?
considered
Is it
permanent?
considered permanent?
So what happened in the past was at the burrito stand, they built a building around.
Right, and we understand that.
And they got a building permit to do that,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's more or less.
Because
Trying to
technically.
talk
that,
about.
you can
then it
buy-
became a permanent, but they got
Yeah,
approval
leave the wheels on.
for it to be,
Just move it
Yeah.
6 inches and move it back.
Yeah, just keep on just moving it around. Such as you said.
Do you have a recommendation of how that could read to be more clarified?
That could be listed that if it's on public property. Now, you wouldn't want somebody to permanently set a food truck
On
in your
any
park
public property.
next to your baseball field.
On private property?
Yeah.
Because if it's
Because-
can't be permanent on any public property, I can understand saying, you
That's
can't park
something-
your food truck in the park and just leave it there.
Yeah.
That sounds very fair, but
You
if
don't
you're on
want to.
private property,
I don't know.
Maybe it should say your own private property,
I don't know. how
not just
the-
private
not just
property,
private, on your personal property.
on your
I
personal.
don't know how the health department views that.
The health department, the
She's
rule.
been there.
I've been there.
Meredith had a problem with it.
Yeah, Meredith has been there and she knows that it's set there permanently when she did inspections.
Meredith is a state inspector, few of us know that.
Yeah.
I guess in a nutshell, that as long as we don't have zoning laws here, that as long as I'm on private property, that I should have to abide by all federal and state laws, health laws, et cetera, to have anything imposed further by the city in the sense of insurance and those type of things,
And I-
or extra permits and so forth, would not be giving me the same benefit that others have of no zoning laws.
The only thing I would want for, I would think we'd get protection from, or I've seen it, is that someone pulled in a camper and was selling stuff out of a camper, and then that camper was there along the highway, and that was just a bad deal.
Oh, yeah, and they put in a porta potty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would just wanna make sure that that
Which,
doesn't,
and so I understand
The
those.
side of the road would be public property too, though, as well.
well, it was on private property.
It was private property, and the
They,
side of the
um,
road, 6 feet back, yeah.
Well,
Probably
this,
null and void.
this was just the first reading, so we can talk about whatever we want, cause
And keep in mind, this applies for all food trucks forever, not just yours. So this anticipates a mobile truck, like they usually are. They go to various places and park into the customers.
And you don't, just, or as we had earlier, you don't want to overreach and develop a reputation of being against food trucks and not have that business. From what whenever word got to me about how everything went down in Gordon, I won't ever eat at that Pizza Hut again.
Yeah.
I don't either.
I- Do you guys plan on just staying there? Like, you guys don't plan on
Well,
ever going to
Well,
anything?
we will be at Summerfest because Doug has asked us to come over for Summerfest. We
Yeah,
went
it'd be nice to be
to,
on Main Street.
yeah, for that day. We went to the open air market because Michaela asked us specifically to come to that event. But we're not set up in such a way, we wanna run to Gordon and run to Sturgis and do this and do that. We did this, we're open for the summer, we close when school starts, pretty much other than the weekends, and we're closed throughout the winter. It's just,
Yeah, since I got I received a contract last week to teach next year, so my food truck just went from being a secondary, primary source of income to a hobby. So I'm not worried about feeding myself and paying my bills.
but I understand both sides of it. You know, it's like we were told we needed, when we did this to begin with, we were told we needed a vending license to set up on any public area.
Well, to sell inside city limits, you need a
Right.
vending license.
And so we got that.
Mhm.
And I'm still not even clear if that was 1 year from the day you got it, because this changes it to a January to December, and how does that work? I'm just curious. For those of us that have them.
How long does it,
Would it be prorated, wouldn't it? Like,
Well, the vendor's permit that I have given out says January 1st through
That's
December,
what
yeah,
everyone, I
yeah,
have no idea.
yeah. So,
Now, I'd be interested in being back on the front side of the fire station if possible, but that's the
I
reason,
understand.
that's the reason I'm sitting in my driveway, because like I said, I didn't just run out and jump into this without research, I checked everything out. I came up here and talked to the ladies next door, saying what are the laws, what are the rules, and then with the option of the fire station on the front side of it, as long as we weren't parked too close to the door. And then after 2 days of business, it turned into your customers are parking too
Customers
close
are
to the
too
door.
close, so you need
Since
to
you're
move.
drawing the customers and they're parking there, you have to move. And so pretty much one of the elements that I had researched and been told was basically reversed within 2 days of doing business, and that's why I'm in my driveway.
Well, next month we'll have the second reading. If there's changes, I guess we'll,
If you change something, then that will become
I
the
know,
first
first reading again, yeah.
Well,
Would that be considered an extreme change to say on public?
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
Anything that's
Yeah.
not like spelling, typo fixes,
Okay.
pretty much it's recorded.
Okay.
So we're tabling, so is that the first reading?
Well, the motion, unless we rescind the motion,
That was the first reading.
that was the first reading.
All right.
so are we changing anything?
Yeah,
I don't, I mean,
Sarah, are we changing everything?
are we gonna change it?
Are we?
Well, that was not in the motion.
that wasn't.
I can rescind my
The motion,
motion.
the motion was,
If we wanna change that.
the motion was to approve the first reading, so.
Let's rescind it and fix that, number 10.
How do you want it to read instead?
How do you want it to reread?
Reread 10 to public land, right?
Oh,
I think that's what they want, from
That's
public
what-
land.
then
To-
establishment on public land.
Yeah,
On
can be
public
permanently
property.
on public.
Yeah, if you place the word public in between the word any and property, that would pretty much fix it, wouldn't it?
A mobile
Or
food
any
vending
public
establishment
property.
cannot be permanently located on any public property and cannot function as a permanent structure. That would fix.
As a permanent
Right.
structure on public property,
Right,
yeah.
so that would fix that.
South Dakota Codified Law 442790, whatever it is. Mobile food service establishment says a mobile food service establishment consists of any enclosed trailer, van, pushcart, recreational vehicle, or similar enclosed mobile facility that is transported from site to site for the purpose of dispensing food to the public. So,
So it's a South Dakota Health Department issue, is what you're saying?
yeah, I mean, they're like, right, they're saying a mobile vending establishment and a mobile food service establishment, like, that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, so it's,
Because it can be moved.
it's supposed to be moved.
And
It's not
actually,
supposed-
actually,
It
and
doesn't
that wording
have
says
to
not
be
only is
moved,
it
it just
capable of
can
moving,
be.
but it does
Does
move.
move.
Yeah, it's supposed to move. It's not supposed to
But,
be permanent.
but,
So maybe we shouldn't change the wording.
but if you do change that, then food truck is gonna mean any push cart, anything. Instead of just food trucks, by using that same reasoning.
It's based on earlier discussion, all I got to do is park my food truck and sell out on my back of my pickup truck.
So here we've got a mobile food vendor, and of course the word mobile is in the term, mobile food vendor. A licensed and operable vehicle or concession trailer which is enclosed and self-contained, independent with respect to water, sewer, power, utilities, and contains equipment for the craft and sale of such food. Designed for immediate consumption.
Yeah, designed for immediate consumption, it's not supposed to be extended period, it's not supposed to be a replacement restaurant, it's not supposed to be a mobile 2-service deal or 3-service deal, breakfast to dinner.
Well, no, what it's meaning is for immediate consumption is that we don't sell dinners that can be sold at different times.
Not a
But
gross, yeah.
Right.
Everything's prepared.
But immediate consumption means that we're putting it out the window for you to eat immediately. Like I said, Meredith has been there, she's checked it, she had no problem with it being there. It also says to address mobile food vendors. The reason that it is said that way, when you look at the laws for what you have to do, that is the section that is different. If you're serving out of a food truck, that is your commercial kitchen versus them coming into the house and checking your kitchen there. There are different things, like we have to have a 3-well sink and a hand washing station. We have to have water at a certain temperature, but we don't have to have, for example, like a produce sink that you would have to have in others. So there is a section that those rules are different if that is your commercial kitchen versus a structure. But that's what it's referring to. Because that is what we were licensed, and she knows that we're set there.
So are we gonna change words or not? Is this the first reading, or we're gonna start all over?
I have Gloria rescinding her motion.
Can rescind that too. What are we gonna do?
Sir?
I,
It's up to you guys. I can write it whatever way you want.
probably has to be mobile. I mean, I don't, it's in the name mobile.
Well, if it has wheels on it, then it's mobile, right?
Yeah, and you're planning on moving it to Summerfest, and that's a yearly thing that would be moved. I don't see the issue.
Well, like you said, you could change that number 10 on any public property. I would suggest we put public in there.
So that would mean a food truck could permanently set up
On private property.
on property.
Private property. But it's gotta be mobile.
Right, but it wouldn't actually be mobile. Would it be
Because you're changing that.
permanent?
You'd be saying that somebody could put up a permanent lemonade stand in their yard or something.
That eliminates, as long as it had wheels on it.
But it doesn't, but you're asking us to say on any public, it doesn't say anything about private.
I think you'd really cut a lot of that out if you only allowed commercial food trucks. Like theirs is a commercial food truck.
I think it's in there, that it's supposed to be, that's supposed to be state certified, right?
Yeah.
It says in there it needs to be registerable or licensed.
Well, we could table it till next meeting too.
Got a question from the crowd.
Robert?
Mr. Mayor, just a simple thought here. I suspect you could kind of guide your current city council to rescind what has been done and give it to the new city council at the second half of the May meeting.
Pass the buck.
You want to get out of here.
We got a whole page yet.
I know.
Okay, I'll read.
You rescinded your motion. That's where we're at.
I motion to table it for that meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Jade. The table is till the next meeting. The next meeting with the existing council or the next meeting with the new council?
New council.
I will have two versions available for you, one with the word public in there and one without, so it's ready to go no matter which one you decide.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, building permits, we have one.
Well, no, it's not the next one.
It ain't?
We got residential and short-term rental ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Residential and short-term rental ordinance.
I don't think I see that one.
Here. you
No, we
have my
didn't.
copy.
I emailed it to everybody because it's like 20 pages long.
Yeah, it's huge. Bob,
On the tabling motion, you require a
This
vote.
new ordinance.
everybody in favor of tabling food truck ordinance to the next meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I don't even know where we were. Residential short-term rental ordinance, 20 pages.
The question is, do we need an ordinance like that?
No,
That's the first question you need to answer.
That's me, and I brought it up. Just because, okay, so digging into the food truck stuff, which then ended up going into restaurants, everything that goes with it, which then when you're getting a food license, it has to do with motel stuff also, which then I kind of went down
The rabbit hole.
yeah, 100%. Cause then it goes with, anyway, ended up going into what's considered hotels, motels, whatever is not in there. But Airbnb is, so then it came up to Airbnbs, which is new, just like food trucks. And doing a lot of research into that. Airbnbs are not under the same stuff as hotels, motels, because they are different.
Lindsay, I
Yes.
don't know what an Airbnb is.
So a Airbnb is
I'm
like,
sorry.
it's like instead of going and getting a hotel room, you go rent a house or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
So, anyway, kind of a long story short, some cities are making city ordinances for rental housing, for short-term rental housing, with the ordinance and application to be renewed once a year. Pretty much just to keep up with things, kind of like with the food truck ordinances, make sure everything's in line there.
How does that affect King's Motel?
It doesn't, because
How about
that's-
senior housing?
Doesn't,
Apartments?
doesn't, if they're not at Airbnb.
The question is, do we need an ordinance right now? I mean,
But then
and who enforces it?
well, then it goes into, because they're doing Airbnb stuff, and you could look it up, under
So how
South
do we
Dakota
know
code
that
by law.
they're doing Airbnb? I mean, is there a
I
South Dakota
suppose you have to
website?
have a business, it's a business, I mean,
Yeah.
it is a business,
Mhm.
so you'd have to have business licenses and everything. And then once I got to looking into that, some cities are doing rental ordinances also specifically for,
Like the Buffalo Chip or Sturgis
well,
Brewery?
no, for, houses. So like if someone is renting.
So we gotta
this is
regulate
your
their
pro-
rentals
so This
too?
is your property, you're renting another house. You live here, you rent this house. So because it's a business, you're renting a house. That's a one-time application. And it's basically to keep track of who owns what property in case of ordinance violations.
We don't.
Problems with the
yeah.
house.
I have the tax list in there, it's the book. I can tell you within a few minutes who owns what property.
Yeah, and then, it's like a one-time application, obviously with an application fee because of keeping track of everything. It's just something out there that a lot of places are starting to do, so it's something if anyone wants to look into, dive deeper into it.
I think one thing that, like, I've seen a lot of, like, companies like BlackRock is a big conglomerate of investors that like to buy, stuff and try and make a profit off of it. Instead of doing like stocks, they're doing real assets. And it would probably be detrimental to the community if, people from California were buying our houses and
I
selling
don't
them.
think they're gonna be buying our
I mean, I'm
houses.
just saying they could,
I see, yeah,
I'm
I
just
see
saying it
that.
has happened.
But you're trying to prevent free enterprise, right?
And you do that to make a
No,
profit.
it's just an application, it's just an
Yeah, South
application
Dakota,
to
you're not-
know.
Yeah.
Because you
That's-
said before, you've had problems getting a hold
Exactly.
of, there's been problems with
Exact opposite.
property, you've had problems getting a hold of the property owner because the person living at the property isn't doing what they're supposed to do. This would help alleviate it because if you did an application that says, this is the person that owns property, this is where they live, this is their number, this is
We
everything.
Joel does that, right? I mean, that's why
I mean,
I've been on the list.
he pulls all his information off the same book I do.
Yep.
I mean, Jolene has that information too up at the treasurer's office, you just ask her about a residence, she can tell you who owns the residence.
Yeah, I mean, and we know basically who's a rental and who's not, because, and then, like I say, if the rental doesn't pay their water bill, then the landlord has to. I
We
mean,
shut them off.
because we shut them off and it doesn't get turned back on until the water bill's paid up.
Well, I was just saying, I was just bringing it forward, it's something that that some cities are starting to do and starting to look into. Since all that's a business.
So then are we gonna make every then do we need to make every business in town get a business license? Do we need to do that too?
No, I'm not saying they have to get, I'm just saying what other places are doing. We
Yeah, I
can
know,
look
but
into it,
it
we
is a
can not.
business. You make them get a register, whatever, yeah, it just goes, okay.
I'm assuming other
Their
businesses
Airbnbs
have
pay sales
businesses.
tax, so.
I don't think it'd be necessarily a good idea to put a fee onto people that are renting property.
No, it's mainly just for the application to know, I guess, specify.
Yeah.
And if you don't wanna specify or have it in there that if you move or change your number, you have to let us know where it is, that's fine. I'm not the one that has to chase people down if there's problems. So I was just bringing it up because it's something other places are doing.
Council?
What, we have to vote on something?
No.
Do you wanna look
And you
into
guys
it
can
further?
just-
Do you want-
you can
yeah.
just look into it.
And
if
we'd
you
have
want.
to build an ordinance
Yeah,
again.
it's not something, you have to do it, something you can look at if you want.
Sarah, have you ever dealt with this?
Well, it's a hot topic in the hills because a lot of people rent out their homes during tourist season, during the rally.
All
I
year
will tell you,
long.
the main debate, particularly like in Hill City, is just random people kind of leave for the summer, portions of the summer, and they rent out their home. And then the neighbors don't like it because there's a noise violation, or there's strangers in and out of the house. And so they look at zoning, can only certain houses in certain zones rent out their houses. And that's the hot debate in the hills because it's so popular. But
And I did print off Sioux Falls ordinance on it
Yeah,
and sent it,
thousands
but
of sheets.
nobody else, you didn't send it to anyone or.
I did, I forwarded
You got
it
it
to
all.
everybody.
I got
Yeah, we all.
Yeah, cause I wasn't gonna print off the whole thing. I say, you guys wanna read this?
I didn't get like a document, I got like a thing to
Click
like,
the,
to
yeah,
like go to a
Yeah.
website for a codified law.
Do
Right.
certain HOAs would ban that too, like, probably,
Yeah,
right,
HOAs
yeah,
would.
so that is to an HOA level, probably.
yeah.
Let's move.
Do we wanna move on now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Building permits.
Building permits. We have one.
got one.
I don't know if everybody got to look at it. Bowie's Ace Hardware wants
Greg,
to,
did you look at it? You signed it.
Yeah.
Bowie wants to build on for wood post, lawn and garden storage.
I make a motion to,
Motion by Gloria to approve this building permit. Second by Greg. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Douglas had something.
I have a question about this specific building permit. A building permit was issued a couple meetings ago now. And he was told that he would need to go around a meter pit. With that, if he is violating that building permit by not going around the meter pit, is that automatically void at that point? Or like, how does that go from there?
I would say that's something that Paul will have to bring to us because
Yeah.
it'll be an issue for him.
I mean, Paul's brought it to me.
Okay.
On this violation, I'm just trying to, because again, he was told,
not to.
when he was given
Yeah.
that building permit, he was told to go down that meter pit. And he has not done that at all. Paul's tried to talk to him, and he won't talk to Paul. I've gone to the house a couple times and he's either not home, or not answering his door. So, I was wondering,
that it isn't following the building permit, so that's a violation of.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering, does that just void the building permit at that point, or does that?
Oh, yeah.
I would say at that point, that is not, the plan isn't what was approved, so then it would be null and void, I would assume, but,
I would too, but I don't wanna make that assumption either.
but we'd leave that up to Sarah.
If it goes bad and we go in there with a backhoe, whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, we moved your fence for you.
Cause, yeah,
At
the
that
thing
point, I
is,
think
Paul
that,
can't get to the
Joel
meter
would
pit.
have to
I
get
know, that's what I'm
notification.
saying.
Cause he built it.
I mean, Joel doesn't have to give notification, I can give notification as well. I can do that without, giving a citation, like, hey, look, this needs to be corrected, or you will be cited.
Oh, I see.
So I can still write up something like that as well. I just wanna know,
Because he's basically on city property at this point, right?
I would assume so, yes.
Yeah.
So the city has the right then to go and remove
Yeah,
it.
visit with him, and if it isn't changed, cite him. Write him a ticket.
Well, what does he write him a ticket for being on trespassing on city property?
I mean, if the building permit's void, then, you know, you have building without, building permit, I mean, I don't know the exact.
That all has to be.
I don't know the exact ordinance, I'd have to dig into that myself or talk with Sarah.
Uh-huh. I mean, I don't know, that
'Cause I remember
hasn't come up before, so.
Paul was here 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, and he expressed his concern with that building permit, and I'd have to go out to meter pit. And so,
Well, he should be requesting a variance from the permit from the city if he doesn't want to do that.
Yep. Yeah, look at 3312, so that's an option.
3312?
Yep. You can apply for building permit or variance in order to bring the violation into compliance. Alternatively, the city may levy an applicable fine. There's various.
But Paul's gotta be able to get to the meter pit.
Yeah, and, you said 3312?
Yep.
Paul is saying that the issue with where the fence is if they had to go shut off the water for whatever reason, he would not be able to get their tool that turns off the water
Onto the,
onto it in order to even turn it, because it would be hitting the fence.
So he can't get the water to shut off. Yeah.
Right, and so, not just if if he didn't pay his water bill, if for some reason they needed to shut off the water to the house, he had a leak, whatever, they don't have that ability to.
So, yeah, I would say, sounds like our ordinance deals with it, so.
So would he just have to put his fence like a little jog around the water pit?
Yeah.
2 posts and
Did he already put the
corner
fence
posts,
in?
2 corner posts?
Yeah, currently the fence is installed in that area and not going around the meter pit as it was instructed by the council.
Maybe we can give it Paul, maybe Paul can go down there and put a couple posts and a couple boards up and offset that.
Why should he have that?
Well, I mean,
well, the
that
guy's
wrench-
gonna be hot, so.
That wrench is gonna be this wide, so you're gonna,
Again, Paul's trying to talk to him, and he doesn't want to listen to Paul at all. And again, I've been over there several times too, and I can't get a hold of him, so I think my next course of action, once I kind of figure out what ordinance this lies on, give him a 10-day period to get this fixed, or he will be cited.
That sounds fair to.
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Can we go to past due water bills?
What, Jay?
Or is there more
I would
comment?
just say, I mean, we need to look into that.
I can give it Sarah a later date.
Because it might not.
338
What was that?
338,
338?
yeah.
And just do what you can to get it resolved as soon as possible, so that, if you can't shut the water off, that could be, I mean, pretty serious, so.
If I understand what you're saying, is his fence on public property? Isn't there supposed to be a setback from an easement?
Well, for building construction, not for a fence. A fence.
Fence is part of building construction.
Yeah, but you gotta look at the whole purpose of it. So the purpose of a building is for fire, like, so if you build a structure, so you have 5-foot offset or a 5-foot offset on both properties, so a fire truck can get in there and you don't have transfer of fire, but when it comes to a fence, you can build those on property lines because the fire thing doesn't come into play.
Right, so where's the shut-off valve? Is it on that line or is it off the line?
So Martin isn't laid out as perfect like other places, so it could potentially be either or, on or off city property.
Most of our streets are 100-foot right away
There's a lot of fences that are in the city right
that
away.
are on city right away.
And if they put them in city right away, they understand that if something happens to them, the city comes by and plows into it with the snow or something, that's their problem. I mean, they build it in city right away, so.
I was just thinking, isn't there typically like an offset from an easement, like 5 feet or wherever you have to maintain? And it doesn't sound like there is.
There's like a utility easement or
Right. So typically, you can't be putting a fence in an easement.
So you need
You
to
have
go
to have
5 foot
access to
around.
that, but it's not saying there's an easement there, it's probably just property, there's probably no easement.
Well, does the service line have an easement? Like Paul, he has to shut the valve off to my house. That line from the main street to up that curb stop is
There,
an
do you
easement.
have an easement on your deed?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, no. It's most of the time not the case.
So in other words, I can put anything I want in that city property and they wouldn't be able to find me then?
No, it's city property.
Well, you just said.
But if something,
Except that they're gonna find them.
but if,
What's that?
They are
if,
gonna find them.
like I
you let
said,
it
if
out of the way.
the snowplow comes along and whatever you have setting out there gets buried in the snow or
Right.
Fall down.
fall down, is, yeah,
Most
then
of the
you're,
time.
you have no recourse because
Most of the
you
time,
put
the
it there.
shut-off is setting on city is on city
Right,
property,
but you
but
just
not.
said though that, if I understood you correctly, that my deed does not have an easement defined on it, so technically it would take me all the way up to the center line of the road. That would be my property.
No,
No.
it's not. It's city right away.
That's what I'm saying. He just said, though, if I understood him correctly, that that easement should be recorded on that deed, correct?
Easements are recorded on deeds.
Right, so if there's no recorded easement,
Yeah, but that doesn't, just because there's no easement doesn't make that property there yours, because it's, the city
well,
owns
if
the
it's-
street.
If it's deeded that way, meaning.
It's not deeded that way.
No.
It's not
No.
deeded that way.
They're not deeded that way.
I would say,
If you look at your, it says 100 by 100 or 90 by 80 or whatever, that's your property.
and everything's
Right,
based
no,
on.
I
But
understand.
if you were to actually measure the city right away, you'd be surprised at how far it goes.
Right, yeah, I.
But that
totally
doesn't-
understand what you're saying.
yeah.
I'm not trying to be, the devil's advocate here.
But that
The
doesn't
point
make
is,
it your property.
I understand,
Yeah.
but there should be a recorded easement, correct?
Easements should be recorded or they're not enforceable.
Yeah.
Right, so if this is the case, this would not be enforceable if there's no written easement, correct?
No, it's probably, on city property.
The meter pit's probably on city property,
He just-
and the guy's building his fence.
Wrong.
Well,
So he's building off the city off of his property.
Easements aren't always recorded, like the power company, if you're wanting power down to your place, it's gonna go on your property, and they're gonna have an easement to go down and fix those power lines. Just like the city would have an easement to go onto your property to fix their water, or if they have their shut off on your property, that would be something, it's not always recorded. Most of the time, that kind of stuff isn't.
Yeah, but what happened down in Chet? When Chet owned that and you had fiber optic and the telephone line running through and there was no easement,
Well, we had an
the power
easement.
company had to buy that easement from Chet.
Correct.
So it just, yeah.
And so a lot of times if the power company or electric company, whatever, phone company, they want to run lines across your property, but they're not running them to your property, they're maybe running, then they have to get permission from the person. But
Right.
if they're running it, if it's your power coming into your property,
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a
That's right,
difference.
that's what you're saying, yeah. There is a difference, yeah. Because you own the property and they don't need to. But it needs to be resolved, right? So,
Yeah, go down, give him 10 days to move it, and then cite him.
Stop by Pew Street while you're at it.
So when somebody's building something on city property, it's called an encroachment. So if somebody's encroaching on your property, you can send them I mean, they can't build on your property, it's city property, they don't have a right to. So sometimes cities will allow encroachments for certain particular reasons, and so then they'll create in their ordinances an application process where they say yes or no, we'll allow this encroachment into an alley or whatever. But I don't think we have any encroachment.
So on that building permit, there's a blank in there that says, are the property lines assumed? Or?
survey.
Surveyed, there you go. On that building permit, I don't know what, when you put it in for the fence, if he had surveyed that lot. Or if
It'd
he
be
was kind of
assumed.
guessing where that was.
He just probably put his line up wrong.
That's what it sounds like.
And most homeowners, you know, so like they put the fence up and then they're shut off and Paul goes down and says, hey, you know, this ain't gonna work, cause they're gonna say, okay, I'm sorry, let's make this work. But he's not doing that in this case, so then you have to go to the next step.
I know that fence my neighbor put in, they made him stay 3 feet away from the property line. They didn't let him put his fence right on the property line.
There may have been an easement there,
It was about 5 years ago.
utility easement.
What's that?
There may have been a utility easement there.
The easement is on my property. His fence is 3 feet from his property line. In other words, his fence didn't go right up to his property line.
It's like Sarah wanted to have that up to the lilac bushes and
Yeah.
there's a stub alley or something in there.
There's a road kind of planned in there.
I think there's any lilac bushes.
Oh, I don't know, Sarah, I haven't
There
been
was
up.
something, yeah.
Maybe it was
But there is
Leroy.
an alley that runs back behind.
Yeah,
your
cause
house.
Leroy, somebody
That's-
down there wanted the
there's no
fence clear
outlet.
over into your property. And we told him no.
No lilac bushes, but there is an alley.
Okay, can we,
Yeah,
So did we solve that problem?
yeah.
Do water bills?
yes, way to go, Warren.
I make a motion, we handle these past 2 water bills the same as before.
Thank you.
I second.
Motion by Greg, second by Warren.
Shut them off.
There you go, you make it.
All those-
Get paid? Well, we always get paid.
All those in
We're
favor
just slow.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Code enforcement,
I talked to Joel this afternoon, he's coming out next week.
did he go to Dollard?
He's coming out next week to do that.
Okay.
He did go there,
He did go there.
and he did serve him a notice, and they were closed for cleaning.
Okay,
But I don't know how clean it is in there.
well, he'll be back, right?
He's coming next week.
Next week. Anything else on code enforcement?
What's that?
Have him drive down Pew Street.
Pew Street. Okay, I'll tell him.
Thank you.
I want him to drive down your alley with his window open.
He does, but somebody else is afraid to go there.
Tires are
Okay.
expensive.
Next on the agenda is complaints.
Dogs.
Can I reserve until the new meeting or something after next month? I'm good to go, so we can get out of here, Gary.
Okay,
With Bob's complaint, just read the memo that we sent you. It gives those nuisance options, and it gives the one that I recommend.
Right.
And I think you would have all gotten that, and how you can declare and abate a nuisance based on dogs.
Yep.
So maybe take a read of that.
I
Let me
did.
know if you want me to pursue it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'll get it.
How about all the other dogs that we got complaints about,
yeah.
running around at large?
Exactly.
Because we got like 7 of them down on Tootie Street.
They come to
You know, we
church
always
yard
talk
all
about
day.
dogs, we never talk about the excessive cats.
There's a lot of them
There's
too.
always dogs, and there's damn cats all
Dogs and cats are
over.
extremely hard to catch.
There's as many damn wild cats around as there is dogs.
There's 2 less in my neighborhood.
24 cats out there.
Do we have to approve that then? You
Just give me,
I don't know who they are, but my God.
How do we do
it's
that?
stuff that, you know, the chief.
Trying to train my dogs to keep them.
It's the one from
Cats are bigger
Jacob?
than my dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lengthy.
So the council needs to make a decision on that?
Well, I think the one we recommended, just the.
Oh.
I think it's the chief that declares the nuisance of the line, it's the chief.
Chief, you've read through this?
I have not seen this.
well. Somebody get him a copy.
So, I mean, just in short, we've already declared a nuisance in our ordinances that dogs running at large are a nuisance. The question is multiple dogs, more than what is allowed. You've got ordinances that limit 3 dogs, cats, or combination thereof, so just 3 pets per, and they're in violation of that. There's no ordinance that, there's an ordinance that says only 3 pets, but none that says, and if you have more than pets, you are therefore automatically declared a nuisance. So you can do that, I can't recall if the chief does it or you guys do it, I think you do it. And you- Well, and then the question is, what do you do with dogs? So it's not an easy solution because normally to abate the nuisance, you get the stuff off the property, you take the junk car off, you know. You can take the dogs off, but you can't immediately kill them. What do you do with them?
Well, you take
So
them out to the vet and they surrender them to a rescue. It's basically what he does most of the
Exactly right.
time.
So there's the two options. You should probably take a look at the two options. One's a 30-day, one's basically a 2-day.
But it has to be declared by council.
If they're a nuisance, yes, because dogs at large are already declared, but I don't think the dogs have been at large necessarily, right?
There are
There's
dogs.
too many.
Okay. There are times when they are out,
Okay.
and the man is notified at that time.
They have not been cited for having a dog at large.
So normally
No,
when your
they
dogs.
have just because the way the ordinance is worded, with them being a nuisance, they haven't.
So normally if your dog's at large, it's a nuisance, then he can take custody of him, put him in the pound. The owner has to get the pound out, the dog out of the pound, but that's not our goal here. It's to get rid of all those excess dogs. So maybe go through here and tell me which way you want to go. Because the way we recommend that I think the judge would like is a 30-day deal. But you do have the option.
Is that, so,
But that's on our dime. Impound the dogs for 30 days after abating the
That's
nuisance.
$25 a day.
Yeah,
It's on our dime, but then you bill it to them.
Yeah. And then you don't get paid.
Yep. So just remember that with our particular judge that we have, a particular owner who might claim she's disabled and the stuff she's asserted in our many
We got a
claims
different
against
judge
her.
now, right?
The 48-hour one would be
Adamski.
nice, where the city can collect the dogs. She has to challenge the impoundment and then you can decide. If she challenges the impoundment, then we can't euthanize the dogs. I don't know, maybe read through it, just tell me what you want to do.
If we impounded them and it was 25 a day, we could assess it to her taxes.
I don't think you can assess that to their taxes.
Right?
It has to be an
Well, it's a bill
improvement.
that they have, I would assume.
It has to be an improvement to the property.
But
You can
Well,
take
this is an
them,
improvement to the property.
well, that's true, but I don't think that they'll see it
But-
that way.
All right.
we don't have to
So,
let them take
do
the
you
dogs.
recommend that it council declares it a nuisance?
Do I recommend that? I mean, are you asking about whether to do the 30-day or the 2-day, or just whether we?
Do you recommend we do one of those two?
I do.
Okay. And can we do that under the, current agenda,
Complaints,
under complaints?
let's see. Yes.
Because this has been ongoing, it'd be nice to, we kind of know that we have something that we can do now and we should do it.
You don't have to hand it off on the new council.
Well, we just get the application and done sooner and moving it along.
Yeah, because that's a
So,
whole month away.
What we would need to kind of agree on is what way we want to go, the 30-day or the 48-hour or whatever.
I agree with Sarah on this, that, the first option for 30 days is probably the better option, especially with the judges that we have. I know the $25 a day is not something the city wants to pay.
Because it's gonna come out of your budget. You do know that, right?
Yeah, I know,
It does. The dog pound stuff comes out of your budget.
yes, I am aware of that. and,
But when they go to pick up their dog, they should have to pay for that 30 days.
Except we don't want her to pick up the dogs.
I know we don't.
I don't think you want a 30-day.
Again, just with the
I'm gonna-
judges that we have here, I think the 30-day one is the best option.
I'm gonna make a motion to declare the property a nuisance and go with the 30-day option.
I second.
motion by Jay, second by Warren, to go with the 30-day option on a nuisance dog. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
So what if they have 7 dogs? Then you'd keep all 7 dogs for 30 days?
No, 4 of them.
Yeah, but how do you
You're down to
choose which
5 today.
How many?
You're down to 5 today.
Only
I'll give you tomorrow's count. Right down the alley.
Yeah.
All those opposed to this motion signify by saying aye. Motion carried.
Okay, Jay was 1 and
Warren was 2.
Warren was 2.
So after 30 days, then the city council decides how to dispose of the dog. Be thinking about that, because at the next meeting,
So does this person not get the dog back?
normally, once they're impounded, she could get them back, but we need to take the stance that the excess dogs is itself a nuisance, so our declaration can be that.
So they don't get the dog back? I mean,
These aren't written to address this.
But we're doing something and we're moving forward with it and we're working.
yeah, but what, the person's gonna come into the city office and say, I want my dog back. And and you're gonna say, no, you can't have your dog back.
It's going through the court system. It's the judge needs to decide at this point.
So we tell them to go talk to the judge.
Go talk to the judge.
And go to talk to the city attorney.
Yeah, I think there's another method she can.
I mean, yeah, cause these people are gonna come in and say, I want my dog back. You are violating my civil rights. That's my dog.
She can appeal, so once you've declared her a nuisance,
Will we have to have a special meeting on it? She does.
she can appeal within 10 days. You don't have to rule on it within 10 days. But the appeal must be in writing, set forth the law why your decision was incorrect. If a hearing is requested, it must be submitted in writing, so she can have a hearing in front of you. It doesn't have to be within 10 days. You can keep the property in the meantime. She can pay all the fees associated with the abatement and impounding. Police department's the responsible agency for maintaining those dogs for 30 days. After the 30-day period, the city council can decide how to dispose of the dogs.
Send them to a light shiner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there one in Hot Springs?
To animal rescue.
Oh.
I mean, that would be the way to.
Yeah, and then they go get another dog.
It's a vicious cycle.
And then they go get another
You
dog.
gotta do something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than nothing.
You're gonna have 20 dogs sitting out there for 30 days. Are you guys prepared for that? I mean, you've got dogs everywhere that need to be, the same thing needs to be done to all them dogs.
We can rewrite our statute, or ordinances to address this particular instance a little bit better. Because this really just anticipates people's dogs running around town and then you impound them, they have to pay them out. Doesn't really anticipate this problem. We might take a look at some other ordinances.
Cause it's like, I can just see a nightmare. This whole thing is.
All right.
I mean, so,
Jane, I asked you this, so when we send that water letter out, send out the rules of dogs and cats.
We have before.
Do it again.
Okay.
And they have to be licensed and they have to be vaccinated. And
They have to be enclosed on their yard, or
they can't run loose.
if they're loose, they gotta be on a leash in somebody's control.
you
I
know,
was backing out of my garage the other day and
we should have ran over
I
it.
tried to, but my car's not fast enough. Right there.
The last,
Any more complaints or are we ready to adjourn?
That passed.
we did complaints. What? We already did complaints.
Can I get something in writing from you to be able to present to them prior to doing this?
Yeah.
In that form, we'll explain what their process and what they can and can't.
Yep.
Gary,
I have this. Go ahead.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Let's go to bed.
Yeah, okay, no lie. My knees all swelled up again.
It's more humane than rat poisoning and wiener.
And when these guys come in,
Motion to adjourn.
want their dog back, I'm
Motion by
sending them
Mark
to you
adjourn,
guys.
Second by Jay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 8:45.
Did your battery die or something?
It was, yeah.